Morning, everybody. You all know me. My name is Nnamdi Amaechina. This is Nana Amaechina, my wife. Uh, Thank you, Julie. And I was asked by Julie, wonderful pastor, to talk about a vaccine for the coronavirus. Let me just give a brief introduction about the corona and then the virus and how we will get out of this pandemic. So corona started this one and China and all over the world. And as you all know, if you're listening to the news, the coronavirus can affect, usually starts with the lungs, but can affect every part of the body. It can cause stroke, it can cause kidney failure, it can cause heart attacks, it can cause GI problems, it can do so many things. So I'll get at the hospital and I can see somebody walk in the hospital with shortness of breath, maybe walk in the morning with shortness of breath, and by the afternoon, depending on what's going on with this person, can be so shortness of breath that we have to put it through his throat into his lungs and help him breathe. And if he or she's unlucky, then he might die actually that day. So the virus really bad. And so the case that let me use an example. Moderna is one of the companies that developed the vaccine. And if you look at Moderna's name, the last part is RNA. So they've been working on the mechanism where of what they're using today, which is mRNA, used to deliver the vaccine. So I know when I go to nursing homes and stuff, there are a lot of people that are saying, "No, I don't want to take the vaccine because he was rushed." But this company, Moderna, started about 10, 12 years ago, and they've been working on it. So when this happened, the mechanism is already there to basically use the technology they already developed to deliver this vaccine. So when the vaccine, so a little bit about the vaccine. So the vaccine, if you know the shape of the vaccine, it's shaped like this, and you see those spikes. Those spikes taken out of the ball is what is how the virus attaches to our lungs or to our mucous system. And so they developed the vaccine using those spike protein. They took part of that spike protein. Those spikes taken out is called spike protein. So they use part of it to develop, they use a technology called mRNA to develop a vaccine. So basically, when the virus comes, the virus is not able to attach because those spikes is what the virus is attached to this membrane. So they developed a vaccine whereby the virus is not able to attach to this membrane. So give you a little fever or chills, but it usually lasts less than a day and you recover. So again, the vaccine is really safe, and I recommend everybody to get it. That's the only way we'll get out of this pandemic. So if you get the vaccine, I get the vaccine. Pfizer, Moderna is about 95% effective, and it works. So one question that I get a lot is, if I get the vaccine, can I transmit the virus? So if you get the vaccine, you can get the virus, but because you can get the virus and still be asymptomatic, but you're not gonna get sick. But then you can transmit it to somebody that doesn't have any immunity, meaning that they have they have vaccine, or if you've had coronavirus in the past, you can develop immunity or antibodies against it. The research shows that doesn't show how long it lasts in the body. So some are saying it might last 1 or 2 months, but then it tapers off. So that's why we need the vaccine, and everybody needs to get it so we can form immunity against it. And that's it. Question.
Thank you very, very much, Nnamdi. So you've given us a lot to start the questions. Dan said he has a comment, and we certainly will take questions.
All right, thank you, Doc. It's good to see both of you. I had my shot, let's see, a couple of weeks ago. My first shot was Pfizer, and I'm going to wait a couple more weeks for the second shot. But for you people that are questioning whether you should take it or not, I want you to know how much better I feel. Whether it's mental. I worried about this. I worry about me being asymptomatic and giving it to somebody. I don't want that on my head. So after the first shot, I left the VA hospital and I smiled. And I saw all these people getting shots, and there's hope there. And there's hope for all of us if we all take this shot. As the doctor said, we really need to do this, and so think about it. So I feel better. And Kathy got her shot on Friday, so she's feeling better. It's a psychological boost that we know that we're not going to get this, hopefully. I mean, there's a small percentage, sure, it's always out there. But as the doctor said, if we all take this, it's going to help others. And today was really a great service. We had more people in the church than we've seen in a long while. It made me smile. I can't wait to see everybody back here. So it's going to make you feel better. So if you're questioning about it, please think hard about it. It's going to make you feel better. So thank you.
Thanks, Dan. So we do have 2 questions in the chat. The first question is, why do some people get fever or chills after getting the vaccine?
Okay, so the first question, we can see the question, why do you, so when you get a vaccine, any vaccine, your body reacts to it. So it tells us that your immune system is working, and when your immune system starts working and basically attacking so the way the vaccine works is you get a part of that virus, and your body forms antibody against that. So it's while your body is forming antibody against it that you may get fever or chills. Then it lasts a few hours, and you can take Tylenol if it's severe. Also, I've read some reports that if you've had COVID in the past, that when you get it, that you might have a stronger reaction, maybe a stronger fever or chills. But that's the only reason why you get it. You get the fever or chills because your body is just like trying to develop antibodies against it. And once you develop that antibody against it, then whenever you get the virus, your body already recognizes it and fights it without you even knowing it.
Thank you. Another question is, how long after the second shot are you covered?
So how long after the second shot are you covered? So you have to understand that the vaccine is, we're also watching, there's research still watching the people that have gotten the shot. But to answer this question specifically, that there's a report that once you get the first shot, that you almost, it takes about a couple of days to fully develop antibodies. So maybe 50 or 60% develop antibodies. So there's actually reports that after the first shot that you already started being covered. And after the second shot, within a week or 95% cover of what the vaccine, what they do is they say they have immunity of about 95%, which is really, really remarkable for a vaccine. So within a week, you should be fully covered at 95%.
Thank you. So another question that has come through the chat. Good morning, doctor. Could you please tell us about the antibody test and what it is used for? The antibody test.
Yeah, the antibody test is basically you let's say you get the disease, the actual coronavirus, and then they will say, okay, let me do the antibody test. Research has shown that it's not really reliable to get an antibody test because the virus is so unique. You don't know when you get it because some people can get it without symptoms, some get it with severe symptoms, and we don't know when it really started and when you develop antibodies. So we don't know when to check for the antibody because it could be any time during the disease course. So we don't use it. It's not reliable. So reliable means when I test something, I know what I'm going to get. So that's why we don't test the antibody.
So in other words, I guess you would say, get the vaccine, don't rely on the antibody test.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for these questions. So another question, if you get the first shot from one developer, say for example Moderna, should the second shot be from the same developer? Is it okay to mix vaccines?
Yeah, we get that question a lot. The recommendation is if you get Pfizer vaccine, try to get Pfizer first shot, try to get the second shot. Remember, Pfizer first shot is 28 days, and then Moderna is 21 days. So it's recommended. It's recommended to get the same manufacturer because different things go into developing different. One is a Pfizer and is stored in negative 70 degrees, while Moderna is negative 60. So there's a lot of it. And then Johnson & Johnson just introduced their vaccine, which is once a day, one-time shot. So and they stored in regular fridge. So where our recommendation is to try to get the same vaccine. Again, studies are because it just came out. I cannot say because there's no studies, because everything we say is factual based. It's a study. There's no study that shows that if you take part of you're covered or not. We don't know.
Thank you. So another question, this is a hard one. Will we need a booster every year?
And that's a good one. We will need to at least get everybody vaccinated. But is that our goal now is to vaccinate as many people as possible. And the more people that get vaccinated, we can go to church and go to parties and do it. But to answer the question, do we need a booster here? We don't know. We don't know. And the way it's looking right now, we might be needing a booster shot every year. So it might take over, but we simply don't know. Yeah, so we're just gonna leave it like that. There's a lot of unknowns with this virus and consequently the vaccine. But what we know, but there's also a lot of unknowns. So we're just gonna be keeping up with the news, keeping up with the updates, and knowing the new recommendations. So if you remember when the virus started, there are different medications that they say we can use, and then it turns out it's not working. Right now, there's really nothing that works, except this vaccine. The medicine that we're using, the Decadron, is just as a steroid that is used for breathing. it works, but not the way we will expect it. So there's really nothing that works for this. I mean, I confirmed somebody that died yesterday from this virus. He's 61 years old. He's a young guy. He worked in the hospital and tried everything. Tried remdesivir, Decadron, plasma. Nothing worked. So the only thing that works is this virus, and you don't want to catch this disease. The vaccine, you don't want to catch this disease. So again, we don't know whether we're gonna need a booster every year, but we might.
We do it every year, right? So I mean.
So Nnamdi, I have a question. It's what I've heard often with regard to any vaccine. And I just wonder how you respond to this question, because I'm sure you've heard it. How about someone who says, every time I get a vaccine, I get sick? How do you respond to that?
Well, it's not every time I get a vaccine, I get sick. It's probably every John gets sick. Pollution has developed with a different mechanism from the coronavirus. If you're allergic to eggs, which a lot of people are, you're gonna be allergic to the flu because that's how it's developed. So, but this virus is different. This vaccine is different, and the mechanism with which they developed the virus, the vaccine, is different. So. You're not going to get a typical every time I get vaccine, because you have never gotten this vaccine, and this vaccine has shown to be effective and doesn't cause all kinds of side effects like an egg developed flu vaccine.
Okay, thank you. So another another question in the chat. Another great question. Thank you for these questions. Would you briefly explain the concept of herd immunity and why it is critical to curbing the virus spread and ending the pandemic?
I'm sure whoever wrote that question is in the medical field. That's a great question. So in herd immunity, what is herd immunity? Herd immunity is when everybody is like a herd, a goat herd, and everybody gets immune to a disease. And so when the herd moves around, everybody moves around, then you don't catch the disease. So when this deadly virus started, officials and people that are not in the medical field were saying, why don't we have herd immunity? Why don't we infect everybody? I mean, you can't infect everybody with this virus. As we speak, last time I checked, 511,000 Americans has died from this. So you can't infect everybody and expect everybody to have immunity. Number one, the virus is so deadly that if you infect people, more people are going to die, then you don't have anybody to form herd. Number two, the antibody that doesn't last so long is unreliable. So there's so many things wrong with that idea that the idea was, I'm glad all the regulatory bodies climbed down and said, no, we can't do that. I mean, we can't do that because it's like murder. So basically that's what that means, that so since we can't do that by infecting people, then we have to do it by vaccine. So if I get it, you get it, everybody gets it, and at least we can start wearing masks, and we know that if you get it, if I have it and I'm asymptomatic, I can pass it to you and you won't get sick. So that's what herd means. And so when everybody is protected, we can travel, we can go to some places where we know. That will curb the pandemic.
And who was that?
Thank you.
Who did that
for
question?
Answer. And thank you for the question. Another question. Why is there muscle severe soreness after getting the COVID vaccine shot as compared to the flu shot?
What?
Okay.
No.
Well, again, it's all part of the reaction. When you get a needle in the arm, first of all, body doesn't like any foreign substance, so it attacks that spot. Get more muscle soreness and the shoulder, whichever shoulder you get it, you have a hard time raising it. Sometimes it's swollen, can be red. So it's all part of the reaction, again, like I mentioned earlier, about your body trying to fight the foreign substance and trying to form antibodies against it. You get more soreness, but medically is a small price pay for the whole to get rid of the pandemic and or if you catch the disease and you're unlucky. So that's why you get so.
Another question, can COVID-19 cause neurological problems?
You know, we're still monitoring it. Pfizer did study on 44,000 people all around the world, and Moderna, I think, did a study on 34,000 people around the world. Throughout their study, it hasn't shown to cause any neurological problems. It hasn't shown to cause any definite problem that will prevent it from getting used worldwide or widespread. So, you know, it's hard for us to say it caused neurological problem because we can say from the studies that it didn't cause it. And in the 90 million of people that has given it, it didn't cause it. So there's no reason for it to cause it now, but I cannot definitely say it doesn't cause. Look, whenever in my practice, whenever I see a new product, I tend to wait, you know, because I don't want to give it to my patient because it's new. We don't know much about it. A lot of people haven't used it yet. So I usually wait because I want to protect my patients. So I don't use any new medicine, new anything. So I like to wait maybe 6 months to a year. But usually that's when I have other alternatives, right? But in this case, I don't have any other alternative. And basically, we have not seen it cause it. Usually, when something happens with this vaccine that we found out so far, is usually somebody has a baseline problem. So if, let's say you have a neurological problem before, and you take it, so and that neurological problem will manifest, but it's not from the virus, because if it is, then we will see it widespread on everybody. Again, 90 million people have gotten the vaccine, and we haven't seen it. I know this is like a lawyer.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
So was the question whether the COVID-19 virus can cause the neurological problems, or is it whether the vaccine? Because this said, can COVID-19 cause neurological?
Oh.
Lena, can you clarify your question?
The virus, not the vaccine.
And the virus.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, the virus can cause all kinds of problems. The virus can cause us to throw clots. So if you throw a clot in your brain, you get an occlusion. The occlusion can lead to all kinds of neurological problems. You can throw clot to your lungs, to your heart, to your kidneys. It can cause a million things, and we have a hard time controlling it. So yes, the virus does cause neurological things, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the question came in, and I'm assuming this is in Rhode Island. When can you get the vaccine when you have underlying issues like COPD when you are 57? So not in this over 75, but with an underlying issue like COPD.
Yes. The government and all the regulatory bodies that determining when people get it. So when this virus hit, it was affecting mainly older people like 65 and above. But also what I've seen in my practice is it affects a lot of COPD patients, and it doesn't show them mercy. So that's why, going back, let me just use this opportunity to say, smoking, you gotta stop. If you're doing anything that will damage your lungs, please stop, because all the cases that I see, the worst COPD patients. So COPD is chronic obstructive lung disease or pulmonary disease. So it's basically your lung has expanded and you cannot breathe in and out. So to answer your question, I don't know, the government keep changing. So what I suspect is within a few days or maybe weeks, we're gonna see them lower the requirements where more people will go and get vaccine. I know some states are different. Some states you can get the vaccine if you smoke and if you have to. So it's different everywhere. But right now, I know people can call their doctor and see what their doctor has in stock or where they can send them. That's what is going on now. So, but I am hopeful that within a few days or week, that more people are going to get it, because we need more people to get it. And also, people make appointments to get it and they don't show up. So maybe make a call to your doctor and see what they have, suggestion in terms of getting it.
Okay, thank you. So one more question popped in. Will children ever receive the vaccine?
Yeah, I think last week or so, they started testing the vaccine on children. I think, when I say children, I think the age was 16 or so. We know that the virus affects children differently, but it doesn't get them sick, but then they transmit it to our older adults. So they need to get the vaccine, but right now there's no studies done. So we hope that that they started recently will help us know how the vaccine works to them, the doses to use and things like that. So right now they're not getting it, but we hope in the near future they'll get it. We have kids and we hope they'll get it soon.
Did I miss any questions, Anne, in the chat? No more? I have just one question. It's exciting that there's a third vaccine coming soon. Can you say anything about the new one?
Yeah, the new one I think will make a great impact, because, like I said, it's not stored in freezing temperature. It can only be stored in fridge, refrigeration temperature. It's only one shot, and so I think it will go a long way, because when the whole world is vaccinated, it makes everybody safer, particularly Americans. So I think that it will make a big difference, because it's only one shot again, and it was just approved, so we'll have to give it some weeks to see how effective it is. I mean, I know they've done their study, but I usually like to wait. The vaccine, the Pfizer one started in December 14th, and now we cannot have a good idea how it works and how effective it is. But this one just got approved yesterday. So I like to give it a couple of weeks, a couple of weeks to see how it really works, before we can really recommend. So for me to recommend, I'll say get the Pfizer and the Moderna. Let's see what adjustment since product is gonna be like.
That's interesting. One more question popped up, and then I think if one more question pops up, we'll take it. But other than that, we will start to wrap up this conversation. And again, I want to thank you so much for doing this for us. We really appreciate your expertise on these, it's challenging questions. So the last question is, what about pregnant women or women wanting to have children in the future? Have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, certain vaccines are not given pregnant women. Some of them are given to pregnant women within a week of pregnancy. So for this vaccine, it's not recommended for pregnant women yet, and so we're not giving it to pregnant women yet. Hopefully, in a few weeks, again, we'll get more information to know how. I don't think you have to do studies, and you can subject somebody's fetus or baby in the stomach to that study. So I don't know what's going to happen with the pregnant women getting it, but I think it's something that we'll just have to wait and see. That's that. Then women wanted to have children. I think once you get the vaccine, then once you get the 2 doses or 1 dose of Genfit, time to form antibody, I think you can safely have a baby. But just be a caution that, again, we don't know a lot about it in terms of pregnant women and having babies. So all this is just what we assume that happened in other viruses that have been given. So we don't have records on it, and if the records is kind of too new. For me personally, like say, if my wife wants to get a spread net out, I definitely do not get it because we don't know. And if we want to have children, we'll wait a little bit until I get the vaccine and I give me time that I don't have any reaction, and then I can go ahead and have a baby.
Thank you. All right, so this is truly the last question. And again, we so appreciate your time and your wisdom. So the last question is, what about type 1 diabetics and those with asthma? Are they still considered high risk?
They still considered high risk, yes. Asthma definitely, because they affect the lungs and you can breathe. So they are high risk. And diabetes is another disease that COVID loves to attack. And some reason, I think in the years to come, we will really understand why it affects certain people aggressively. And I've seen a 22-year-old diabetic, and he didn't even last 3 days, and he was dead. And then I've seen, the 22-year-old get it, and nothing happened, but he doesn't have diabetes. So with time, we're going to understand more about this deadly virus. And yes, they still consider high risk, and they should be the first. They should be in line to get the vaccine and do everything they can not to catch the coronavirus, because it's
All right, well, thank you. We so appreciate your being here and your willingness to talk with us about this important question. So I think we would say vaccine. It's something that we should all get.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for staying on and the wonderful questions. And we look forward to future conversations about important health matters among us.
Yes.
God bless everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Go Giants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.
Yes. Have a blessed week.
Yeah.
Thank you.